Well, I just want to thank you again for coming and talking with us. If you want to introduce yourself, you can go ahead.
Sparky McEwen, head football coach at Davenport University. Just completed our seventh season, sixth on the field, seventh contractually due to COVID.
That's awesome. Can you share us a bit about your early life and the challenges you had to overcome growing up?
Absolutely. It's not the textbook, upbringing. I had a mom and dad that was absent in the household, and thank God I had two grandparents that were just absolutely amazing. Did a tremendous job with, the raising of, me and my little sister. But at that point, it was pretty much being raised in the church, with Reverend James Holloway and Margaret Holloway, and that was the grandparents. And once again, just being thankful for what they did for our lives and putting us in position to have a successful life. And but as you can imagine, at that young of an age, being with grandparents, you get to, you're being raised with an old soul, and everyone in the neighborhood knew, that you're obviously going to church quite a bit and different things like that. And so there was always daily lessons, always daily lessons. And I think it set me up for, later success in my life, because you always remember those early, teachings. But at the same time, athletics, played a major role in my life as well. And I was introduced, throughout the neighborhood to different sports and things like that. And thank God that, my grandfather, had the resources and the opportunity and the ability, to point me in the right direction when it came to that.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. What are some of your proudest achievements during your childhood or early adulthood years?
Once again, having the opportunity to be involved in athletics. Athletics, once again, you're allowed to meet so many people, during your, walk of life. Even though I had challenges, coming up at that time, I can honestly say that, in athletics, it really helped mold me into the person I am today. Some of the things, going, I actually went to many, elementary schools in my upbringing, and then I settled in at the middle school level at Northeast Middle School, and then I went on to Creston High School, and at the time it was the Creston Polar Bears. And being able to be there, and I think that's when I began to mold myself as a student athlete, understanding and having this vision of what I wanted to do with my future. There was a lot of guys that went through that school that were awesome, as athletes, and you began to have an understanding of, the direction you really wanted to go with your life. And so seeing those things and going to a very competitive, high-level high school like that, it kind of gave me an idea of where I wanted to go with my life as it pertained to athletics.
Awesome. I mean, if you don't mind, let's dive into your playing career. Could you share us a story behind your journey on the field?
Wow, on the field was amazing for me, because I actually played three sports. I played basketball, baseball, and football. All three of them, I can honestly say that I excelled in all three of those sports. And, back then when you were coming up as a youth, it was common. It was common to play three sports. I mean, not even just two. It was common to play three sports. So all summer, all year, I was extremely busy, with athletics, and I spent a lot of time just honing in on my skills. And in basketball, most of my friends at the time played a lot of basketball. Enjoyed playing basketball, playing at a high school level, and then football, obviously, playing quarterback there in high school at Creston High School. For me, there were some young guys coming up at the time that were pretty good, and I tried to, emulate my game to theirs. And it was a very decorated high school of quarterbacks, and being able to follow in some of those footsteps were pretty cool for me. And then baseball, baseball was my game coming up. I really enjoyed playing baseball. Had some great coaches, while playing baseball, and a whole different set of friends, So my summers, to say the least, were extremely busy. But at the same time, man, I was always very competitive, always busy. It set me up for what was going to come as a coach later on in life, because I actually had so many outstanding coaches, at the amateur level, and it kind of gave me and began to mold me into what I want to in the future become as a coach.
Now, were there any specific role models or sources of inspiration that influenced your aspirations as a football player?
You know, early, once again, like I said, in those days of playing in high school, there were the Burns brothers, Durrell and Dennis Burns. They were high school quarterbacks there at Creston High School. Man, they were pretty sweet. And I remember going to those games and had an idea that that was the position I wanted to play. And then obviously, you know, professionally, you know, there was a Warren Moon that played. He played obviously at Washington and then CFL and then later on in the NFL. But I began to see people that looked like me, you know, that played the sport. And I didn't understand why there weren't many more African-American quarterbacks playing, you know, at the time. But, you know, I love that position, you know, just being in that leadership role, understanding the entire offense, becoming a student of the game, being the one that's connected the closest to the head coach. That right there had a major impact on me in the direction I wanted to go with as a coach, as a leader, you know, as a you know, a mentor, a role model. Loved playing the quarterback position. So that was really one that was important to me, and I began to excel a little more at those two sports, baseball and football. And so, and both of those two sports gave me an opportunity to go on and have the opportunity to play at the collegiate level.
Awesome. Now, in your career as an athlete or just in life in general, could you pinpoint a specific moment or experience that fueled your desire to become a coach?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a gentleman by the name of Jamie Hosford. Jamie Hosford is a Grand Valley Laker great. A lot of people didn't know that. He coached 1 year of varsity football. I was at Creston High School, and he was the reason that I stayed at that school. He took the job. I stayed there with him, but he was absolutely an amazing man, and he did one great job with me. I love the way he communicated with the student athletes. I love the attention that he got as the head coach and the respect that he got as the head coach. And that was one that on the football field that stuck out to me early in my career. And that's what we're talking about here, that who are the ones early in your career, you know, that kind of sets the standard, you know, for who you are. And then that in baseball and basketball, I had a gentleman by the name of Michael Daypre. You know, Michael Daypre, he was a younger guy. He actually was still a pretty good athlete at the time, and he was a baseball player as well. And I just saw a lot of myself, you know, as a kid in him as a young man, because like I said, he was a young coach, pretty sharp dude. He was a student of the game. He was intense. I just loved everything about his teaching style, and just watching him and watching Jamie Hosford, you know, back when I was in high school, and then even when you go back a little further than that, for me, coming through the little Sandlot leagues, the Rocket leagues, was a gentleman by the name of Paul Martin. He was another person that was pretty impactful, you know, in my time coming up, you know, as an athlete. And then there's one that jumped out to me that was probably as intense as they come, but at the same time he had a compassion for student athletes and kids, was Maurice Barnes. Maurice Barnes was a gentleman that he knew exactly the type of athlete that I was. He was probably one of the only guys that knew how good I was in baseball. You know, he knew how good I was in baseball, and not having, you know, a father in my life consistently like that. But my grandfather was there, but Maurice was able to step in for me and give me an opportunity to excel on the baseball field and even on the basketball hard courts. And so I've always think about guys like that impacted my life and that molded me as a coach. And you just kind of take a little bit from each and every one of them. And then there was a few more, but those were the main ones that I will always remember.
Now, I know you've touched up on your past. How does your upbringing or your background shape your coaching style, philosophy, or your leadership style?
I have to go back once again, you know, to being raised by my grandfather. You know, he was a pastor. There were always the consistent teaching, and that's one of the things that he always would stress in my life, was being consistent. You know, as long as you're consistent, you know, people know that you stand for something, and you just won't fall for anything. And so I've tended to take those things, those characteristics with me. Having a passion for what you do, believe in what you do, fight for the things that are really important to you, have value in things that you do. So once you have value in things you do, you're going to go a lot further in life when people understand that you're well-rounded and you understand, the things that goes into, being successful. One of the things that he would always stress to me was opportunity. Everyone to get an opportunity, but, those people that are successful in opportunities are the ones that go on to life and make an impact in a number of ways. It's not always about, the money element, to these things. It's just about being strong and what your beliefs are and people understanding that and having people, know, that you're one that stands for something.
Piggybacking off that, reflecting on your playing career, what valuable lessons did you carry into your coaching career?
Playing career, man, wow. The playing career for me, the one thing that I will always, remember about playing is I've always taken the game serious. Whenever, it's official and we're competing, winning, it was only one way, and one way was to win. And that was not just lip service. That was really putting in the time, putting in the extra work. When I talk to young guys now, and everyone talks about winning, and my whole deal is, what are you doing? How are you preparing yourself to win? People don't remember, the late nights or the early mornings of the workouts and things like that. What they remember, is that day in the sun when you hoist the championship trophy. But there's a lot of lonely nights and early mornings that go into successes and really putting in the hard work. So for me and playing, if you talk to, some of the guys that played with me in the past, they'll talk to you about how serious I was about the game, more importantly, my leadership style. I would have friends on the way up, through athletics, but they would tell you friends go out the door for me. When it comes down to it, I want to know, how serious are you about truly winning and being successful? And if you're about that, then I could be the greatest teammate. But if you weren't about that, you would know right away that we will probably have some issues, So I would think that with me, that kind of is where, when it comes to the mold that we're talking about, my players understand that. When they walk through the door, I want them to be passionate about what we do. I want them to be serious about their life successes. I want them to be consistent, because I think if, once again, going back to what I was saying about my grandfather, if you're just consistent about who you are and what you're about, more than likely you're going to be successful.
That's really well said. Transitioning from the past to the future, what are long-term goals as a head coach football at Davenport University?
I've always been big on being good where your feet are. If your feet are here in place at Davenport University, let's be as good as we can possibly be as a football team at this university. We've come a long way. We've done tremendous things. We've made tremendous strides. But there's other things that we want to achieve, in such a short period of time. I went back and I did some research, and the research that I conducted is, in the same period of time, there's no other GLIAC team that has achieved what we've achieved in this short period of time. And the GLIAC's not even close to what, the GLIAC back then is not even close to what it is now. When we have, different powerhouses in our conference, you've had, Grand Valley State, Ferris State, Wayne State. All these teams have actually gone to the national championship game. Not all have won it. Most have won it. But for us to do and have the success we're having now, your hat has to go off to these young men. They've done a tremendous job. You have your success. Once again, you could directly go back towards the coaching staff that we've been able to put together there. And so I'm excited about the future, for our program. The sky's the limit, but we have a lot of work to do. In regards to my future, I can't even get past where I'm at now. I'm so excited about what we've done, what we've achieved. I can tell you this much: I think the future is going to still be bright as long as we stay consistent in everything that we do.
Could you share a memorable coaching experience that deeply impacted your approach to the game?
There's so many of them. I've had a couple experiences where anytime a coach lose as a player. In the time I've coached, I've lost a number of players, and those are the things that they stick with you. There's other times where our players, they go on to graduate. They go on to have families. They go on to get, married. They go on to have their own businesses. Those are the things that, even more so than the championships, than the winning as a team. Those are the things that a lot of people don't know. For coaches, it actually, it sticks out in their minds when you talk back with the athletes that you've seen, grow up and do, big things. I've coached so long now that I think I've had a player in every walk of life. That's pretty cool, thing to know and have as a coach. And those are things that you never get a chance to discuss. But I've won championships. I've been parts of championships, but knowing that the student athletes, that you've coached, some of those things that you've taught them, some of those experiences that you've given them, that's something that they could take on for a lifetime.
Could you describe any significant challenges you faced as a coach and how you overcame it?
The toughest one is what we're faced with today, and that is the hiring of minority coaches. It's something that I remember getting into this profession, that it was an issue, in the beginning, but it's still an issue, and that's an issue in itself. Okay, we've come too far. We waited too long. There needs to be more equality, in the hiring profession. When you see sports that, there are many people of color involved in these sports, there needs to continue to be many people of color in more management positions, head coaching positions. These are things that, for me, that I stand strong on. That if we're allowed to play and entertain and do those type of things, I think we should also be allowed to be in management positions, being the head coach position. And it was that way for me as a player as well when playing quarterback. So I went from playing quarterback in a position that, there weren't a lot of people that looked like me, to coaching. In a profession, there's not a lot of people that look like me. So for me, I think it's extremely important that I continue to push the envelope on getting more, men of color, involved in such a beautiful game. It's such a beautiful game. And the more that I'm out there, the more that I coach and put myself in position to have success, there's younger, there's younger eyes, that see me in those positions, and they'll aspire, to be that one day.
How do you motivate and mentor your players, drawing from your personal experiences? I've been a big believer in that action speaks louder than words. I think that when your athletes see the hard work, when your athletes, see the time, put in, when your athletes see the consistency that you have in their life and that you care, I think that's the most important thing. When it comes to motivating for me, my guys know I have a passion for football. They know that when we're winning, I let them know how well they're doing. When we're losing, I let them know that we got some issues, but they know I care. If they know you care, and then they know that you've gone above and beyond, to help their teammates in other ways, that's more motivation than what the average person needs. It's just knowing that someone really, truly cares about them. What legacy do you hope to leave as the head coach at Davenport University?
When you start thinking about legacy and things like that, I also feel that allow your work to do your talking. Okay, I think over time, enough people
enough individuals in the most important positions will know that hard work pays. And when they see the hard work that's gone in such a tough, conference like we're in, I think that'd be enough for me when it comes to legacy. Just knowing that I did my best. I did the best I can, and we got a lot out of our student athletes. And getting this team in such a short period of time, to get up to be ranked 9th in the country, that says a lot. And when we're talking about 160, now I think it's 168 Division II playing schools, to get this football team to the position where we're ranked 9th in the country, it says a lot about the people there at our university. We got a long ways to go, because last time I checked, there's still 8 more positions in front of us, and those are the things that drive me. And if that has anything to do with legacy, I think that it'll be left in a pretty good place.
How do you balance your personal journey with the responsibility of shaping young athletes' future?
The personal journey, that's funny, because my wife keeps me grounded. We got 2 big dogs. I golf, family. You got to at some point step away, okay, to find some kind of balance. And like I told you, she's a football gal, okay. Sometimes she talks more football than me, but we find a way to find our happy balance, because she knows I need it, and matter of fact, she I think she pushes me towards golf more than anyone, because I'll find myself trying to get back to the office, and she'll say, hey, maybe you need to go play a little golf or go to range or something. So I think having someone solid in your corner, it speaks volumes, because no one, and I tell you this, no one can do it by themselves, okay? And you hear stories about head coaches and the head coaches' wives and things like that. It's real. She's a ball girl. She loves it. She comes from deep-rooted football background, Oklahoma. So she understands the struggle, and she really pushes me to be the best that I could be. And you got to have that in order to have some balance in your life, man. Because if you don't, this game is tough on you.
Looking back, what advice would you give your younger self as you embarked on this coaching path?
It's really a good question. That's one where, in a day and age where, there's so many things going on with NIL, transfer portal, the times I've seen change, drastically. The one thing I would say is that I enjoyed the high school level. I enjoyed the collegiate level. I enjoyed the professional level. The one thing that I would say that I would tell my younger self is enjoy it a little more. It goes fast. It goes so fast, and I don't think I had a chance to enjoy the high school stuff, coaching. I definitely didn't enjoy the pro stuff. Loved it, but I couldn't enjoy it because the stakes are so high. Winning a championship at that level, it was absolutely amazing. But you couldn't enjoy it because you're on to the next opportunity. The collegiate level, it's the same way. We finish the season and we're already on to the next group. with the transfer portal, you're steady trying to recruit your own players, recruit other players that's in the portal. It's hard to enjoy, so I would tell any young guy coming along, man, do your best to enjoy it because it goes fast. There's not enough, praising, of hardworking coaches because it's just so much that goes into it. I would just have to say, man, smell the roses because you never know.
That's all the questions we have for you today. Just wanted to thank you for coming out and dedicating your time to speaking with us. It's a pleasure, and I wish you the best of luck for the rest of your season.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, of course.